is thejasminebrand.com, and I have on the line with me Sorority Sisters cast member Lydia Raquel. How are you doing today?
I am fine. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm excited to speak to you, and I wanted to just start off and ask, before the reality TV show, what were you doing in terms of your career?
Well, you know what, honestly, I was living a normal lifestyle. I was still establishing my nonprofit for at-risk youth, which I started back in 2008. So I was getting the ball rolling for that and doing all the paperwork and everything. I was also auditioning for different dance team things that were going on and looking for auditions and teaching dance. So I was living a pretty normal life.
Okay. Well, how were you actually casting for the show?
I received the casting information from a friend of mine who's kind of in that circuit, but it was nothing that I ever would have known about if he hadn't sent it to me. He was like, this would be perfect for you. You should look into this. You fit all the criteria, so why don't you check it out? So I was like, okay, cool. And it looked interesting enough, and honestly, I'm a skeptic, so I wasn't believing anything until, we really got the ball rolling. But I met with this lady, and she just was kind of walking me through the process. She asked me a lot of questions about myself, and we just kind of kept going from there. And it was like, oh, okay, well, we like you, and you're one of the last people that we're going to throw into this cast, so are you interested? And from there, the rest is history.
Oh, okay. Were you initially apprehensive?
I was, only because I wasn't sure what this really was. It's so many different scams and different, people doing different things out there. I wasn't really sure that this was legit. But then once I realized that it was a real network, it was a real show, and it was really happening, I was like, okay, I'm down.
Okay. Do you feel like you were edited fairly?
Edited fairly. I think I was. There's always some things that you see and you're like, oh, for real? But for the most part, I feel like I was. What I saw on TV was me. I didn't feel like they, cut me to make me look any different than exactly who I was. So I was pretty comfortable with what people saw on television because that really is who I am.
Okay. What surprised you most about the entire process?
The entire process, I think the whole process was surprising just for me, period. Just coming from living a normal life and then being thrown into just everything with cameras in your face and then you got hair and makeup. All of that was just like, wow for me, because it's almost kind of like you're being exposed to something that you just never thought you would have seen before. So I would say the whole experience was always like a, oh my goodness moment for me.
Okay. Did the network tell you why they decided to sort of rush and abruptly close out the season?
They didn't. A lot of the times we were finding our information with the public. Even when we watched the show, we were watching it with everybody else. So, no, we didn't receive a lot of information as far as why they were making the moves that they were making.
Okay. Now, there was lots of backlash. Were you surprised at all?
I think that when you have a show on VH1, it's going to naturally come with backlash just because of the nature of shows that they tend to house on that network. But so no, I was ready for some skeptics and critics or whatever, but the caliber of backlash is what shocked me. The threats and just the nasty talking, the putting down, that's what took me back.
Gotcha. What do you think, for the people that were not fans of the show, what do you think their real issue was?
The title of the show. And for me, I feel like that's the biggest thing. If they all would have put us on that show and never said which organization we were a part of and people would have had to try to figure it out, I think it would have somewhat been okay. But I think because the organizations were named, from top to bottom, that, people put that stigma on it, and we no longer were individuals. They wanted to make us out to be representatives of the organizations, and that's not what we were doing. We came in just to tell our stories and our experiences through Greek life, and that's what connected us. That was the only common denominator of that show, besides the fact that we were all women and all members of sororities. Past that, sorority business was never a topic of discussion. It was just about things that were going on within our group. So I think the title for the most part.
Okay. before you actually joined the show, and did you reach out to your organization and say, hey, I want to give you a heads up, or did you alert them beforehand?
No, I didn't. I've never alerted Delta about any move that I made in my life, so I didn't feel like it was important to, alert them about this one. At this point, I wouldn't even know who to call. Is there just like a 1-800 number that you check in to make sure that you're doing the right thing in your life? You know what I'm saying? I'm a little confused as to why I should have reached out when I lived my life as Lydia. You know what I'm saying? I just so happened to be a Delta. So, no, I didn't check in with nobody.
Lydia, you're funny. Okay. Were you surprised at all when you found out that you were expelled?
Oh, girl. Surprised, shocked. But it wasn't even... I think it was the delivery to that was like, oh, for real? This is how we conducting business now? I really was not expecting the way it came, because I didn't talk to anybody. I have yet to speak to anybody on the national level as far as Delta is concerned. So I'm finding out from bloggers and media people who are calling me and hitting up my inbox, is this true? They sending screenshots of the website. I'm like, oh, for real? I didn't know it was true. So I just think that the manner in which it was done was really, really shiesty. And then the fact that they went that far, I think it was uncalled for. So I'm just really looking at them sideways right now, because I've known people to do a whole lot worse in the world as far as griefing goes, and they are still members of the organization. A little slap on the wrist and then you go about your business. But we make a decision to further our careers or do something with our lives, and now we're expelled. So it's kind of like, wow. I just think they sent out a really bad message, because it's like sisterhood and politics don't go together. And I feel like politics kind of took the lead on this one, because you just don't cut your sisters off like that.
That's what I was going to ask you. I was going to ask you, what do you think the real reason is behind why they expelled you?
I do. I think it was politics. I think it was a power move. I think the AKAs made their decision first. They only suspended the girls for a few months, which, hey, if that's what they felt like they were going to do, fine. But I just feel like Delta tried to come back and be like, oh, we're the powerhouse, so we're going to make some serious moves. And I don't know. I think that it was more so for show than really thought through as to how we were affected and everything that was going on. Because, again, I have not spoken to anybody at Nationals about this decision. And, do we have a trial? Or, they just laid down the hammer and they didn't even talk to me.
Right. Well, I know that, as you mentioned, the AKA did suspend those members that were on the show. You think that it was politics, or maybe that they were trying to one up, AKA, we're going to do even, we're going to go harder, or...
Yeah, I wouldn't put it past them that they had something to do with it. Not at all. Because like I said, at the end of the day, it's politics and power that's circulating around right now. It's no longer about sisterhood and everything that we once stood for. People always love to talk about, the issues back then aren't the issues now. They're not. We have our own set of issues that we are not focused on, because y'all too busy trying to boycott a show.
Okay. Do you have any plans to try and fight the decision?
You know what? To appeal the process, you have to care. And at this point, I know people keep getting pissed off because I say I'm unbothered by negativity, but at this point, I honestly am. They put a very bad taste in my mouth as far as what this organization is today, because I know it hadn't always been like this. And also, too, people have to realize that these presidents and these national officers, they filter in and filter out. So everybody's platform is different. Who's to say that the last president would have come down this hard on us? So I don't know what their mentality is right now, but I just don't think it was a good look for Delta, and it's nothing that I just really want to entertain at this point in my life. I would rather focus on my business. If they want any money from me, they're not getting it. I have other things that I would rather put that into, because I can still uphold those things, morals and values, without those letters. I'm good.
Gotcha. Do you still feel like Delta? Do you still feel connected? And
Absolutely, and that's what I was telling my line sisters. Matter of fact, I wasn't telling them; they were telling me. Like there is no 6 without 33. There is no 33 without 6. You cannot undo everything that we've been through as far as Delta goes. You just don't unlearn history. You cannot just. I'm waiting on somebody to come out with the little Men in Black thing and just erase my memory, because it's just kind of. It's unheard of, you just, I don't know. So, yeah, I do. I do still feel connected. Matter of fact, one of my sisters is about to get married, and she's like, oh, please believe you still singing the Sweetheart song at my wedding, you know? So that's the love that I'm used to anyway. So nationals, I don't know them. They don't know me for real. So.
Right. And I was going to ask you what your relationship has been like with your line sisters and I guess maybe your chapter soror since, you know, this whole situation happened. But it sounds like your relationship is still intact with your line sisters. How is it with the sorors that are in the chapter that you pledged in?
You know what? I have still received a lot of love, like from my profiles and like my DP who brought me in and just everybody who was already close to me before and people who really knew me. We're still good. Everybody has sent their love and they're like, you know, I'm calling to let you know that all Deltas don't think the same. So, you know, this is, I'm sorry. My dog, you know about Layla.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. You got a mama? Okay, all right. Okay, sorry, flag on the plate. But no, everybody's been good. But I'm be real with you now. Like everybody is okay. There are ones who are silent, but then there have been some hell raisers. I had to kind of get one from '86 together, and it's like, come on now, you're too old to act like this. At what point does it stop? So yeah, it's been mixed, but for the most part, it's been love, especially from the home team.
Okay. Well, what do you think is what's the biggest misconception you think people have from seeing you on the show?
From seeing me, I've been hearing that there's a lot of guilt by association just with me on there because they say that my role on the show was a lot more toned down compared to some of the other castmates. So, you know what, I don't know. Like I feel like it was what it was with me, and everybody took me as what it was. You know, I don't even feel like I came across like somebody who was used to doing reality TV. Because at times I was looking at myself laughing like, oh, for real? Like you ain't even gonna pretend like this? Okay, you know. So I don't know.
Okay. What now that the show is over? How do you plan to take advantage of this platform?
You know what? I came in on a mission. And when that first lady first met me, I told her, I said, you know what? I've never even considered doing anything like this in my life. Let's be clear. So I am coming in here with much purpose and much reason. And when I told her what it was strictly about that nonprofit because I knew that it would be hard for little old Lydia from Opelika to go to somebody and be like, hey, I got this nonprofit. I need some help. We need some money for these kids. They be like, oh, okay, here's those $20. Sounds like a business. I felt like this would be a good platform for me to really reach out to some people, you know, get some, not recognition, but be a recognizable face to be like, oh, that's that girl. She got this going on. Maybe I can latch onto this and help her with that. So that's all I wanted. I just wanted a platform for my program because I really, really think that I know I got something on my hands that can really like change our communities and what we got going on. So that's all I was here for. That was my purpose.
Okay. Well, before I let you go, just a few general questions. What is your biggest fear?
My biggest fear. I would have to probably put it back on that nonprofit that I've done all of this and it doesn't get to where I need it to be. And I don't even think that I can really call that a fear. It's just something that I pay attention to. Because I never wanted to do this. And first of all, I didn't do it with malicious intent, but I didn't want to do it just to be doing it. Like I wasn't seeking out fame. I didn't look for additional money just because I really came in because I wanted it to be a platform for Embrace. And so if it hasn't done that or won't be that, then I think that it was all in vain. So that would, if a fear, that would be it.
Okay. What's your biggest vice?
My biggest vice, as far as this show?
No, just in you personally, your life, who you are.
Oh. Vice. Let me see. I might need to look up the definition.
Like vice is like maybe smoking cigarettes or drinking or cursing or men or shopping.
Oh, my cut up. Okay.
Yes, your cut up. Okay.
Let me see. My biggest cut up. You know what? Oddly enough, it might be reality television. And just TV. Because I've never been one of those people, the black the black race is being degraded. You know, that's TV, y'all. It's just entertainment television. Y'all not fixing to solve these stereotypical issues through this one outlet anyway. You got to start at home. So just watch TV. It's okay. So that's probably it.
Okay. Last question for you. If you had to pick one song as the soundtrack of your life, what would it be?
Oh, girl, that's a good question. Hold on, let me think, because I am a music lover. So let me see.
Okay.
The story of my life, and it's so funny because me and my homegirl always do the soundtrack of our lives. So anytime a song come on and it applies, we're like, oh, girl, I got to go on the soundtrack. Let me see. Oh, you can hate me now, but I won't stop now. Hey,
that's one. Oh, we really went in the vault for that.
Oh, honey, listen, I am a throwback queen, okay, but that one right there, like that song, that beat alone just gets you like, ow, but see, that's called perseverance right there. You got to push through, so that one.
Okay. Well, it was a pleasure talking to you. Is there anything that you wanted to address or talk about that I didn't get a chance to ask you?
You know what? I would just like to say this. I want people to relax because it's like a lose-lose situation. We can't win. Like, even when I posted a picture about me being unbothered on Instagram the other day, people were like, oh, you're bothered. Oh, you got to let. It's like, wow, I can't even be okay and okay. People want to see you broken. So I just wish that people would focus. I think that's been my slogan across the board. Focus. Hone this energy in on something that matters. That's it, then.
Okay, well, it's been a pleasure. You have yourself a good evening. I had a good time chatting with you today.
Oh, thank you so much. I enjoyed you, too, and